Kia ora and welcome to The Form, another massive week of racing as we count down to the first Group 1 of the New Zealand season. Let's kick things off with a little look at the agenda. We'll kick things off with the Cambridge Gallops with Brendan Popplewell. We then head to Pip Morris, who talks us through the Whanganui greyhounds. We get jockey Craig Grylls on the phone to talk about his rides this afternoon on the Cambridge Synthetic, as well as Dragon Leap in the Tarzino. We then head across the ditch to Melbourne to catch up with trainer Natalie Young, and we wrap up a big show with champion jockey James McDonald talking about his rides on the Kensington track this afternoon. All of that before our best bets to wrap up the show. Well, the first person we want to catch up with here on The Form this morning is Brendan Popplewell. And Brendan, we're looking forward to a strong afternoon at the Cambridge Synthetic track with the 7 races scheduled.
Yeah, certainly, Emily, and there's a bit to dissect around this meeting too, with a number of trialists that have looked very good heading into this, and 2 runners that I'm keen to look at from the 3rd of September trials, where there were some horses that trialled nicely, and we'll see a few of them line up this meeting this afternoon.
Yeah, tell us about them, because as you said, I know the first of them in race number 3, both from the Baker Forsman team. We're stepping away from the value bet, aren't we? But you've got 2 best for us.
Yeah, I am. I'm going to go for this horse by the name of Lady Caval in race number 3. Now, she's a 3-year-old filly by American Pharaoh, and she's actually out of a very good broodmare from Australia by the name of To Please a Lady. Now, this horse has left a number of multiple winners. They're not superstars or anything like that, but has left 4 horses that have won either 6 races, 9 races, 11 wins, and they've all won from distances from 1,000 metres up to 1,400 metres. So she's been a really good producer, and it looks like she might have left one here that's got some speed in the legs too, that we saw at the trials recently at Cambridge on the 3rd of September. From an inside draw over 950 metres, this horse was able to find the front and end up extending away nicely by 1 length and a quarter. Now, going over those trials for that day, and I'm talking about all trials over the 950 metres, maiden and also open handicap, this horse was the 2nd fastest heat for the program. There was a runner that was very impressive to the eye that was only just quicker than her. So I'm happy to mark her down as a bet here this afternoon from a good draw. First up over 1,300 metres. You can find that front position. She might be hard to peg back.
And Brendan, I understand that you don't have a value for us, but you do have another best, and I think it comes up in race 5.
It sure does, Emily, and this is a horse by the name of Eagle Tarzan. He shot up really nicely recently on the 3rd of September trial meeting also. He was a shade slow away, but then he showed really good acceleration to find himself in front, and he ends up kicking away and winning his trial by 2 1/4 lengths. He did go to Hawke's Bay as a very well-backed horse back in the early part of May, and he trialled well leading into that. He was slow away in that race at Hawke's Bay, and he never really got into the race, and he was able to close off well enough. But with what we saw over that short course trial, he might be ready to show something first up for the Baker Forsman stable on his home track. So race 5, Eagle Tarzan from a middle barrier over 970 metres. Don't mind his chances also.
Awesome stuff. And of course, with just the 7 races, a nice compact program, Brendan, but $10,000 guaranteed first fours on every race at the Cambridge Synthetic, which is a great option, isn't it?
Oh, it is, and it's been attractive since we've come back to racing. Over the last 2 weeks, the TAB are putting up these promotions, and it's dangling the carrot there for punters. And there'll be certainly opportunity to maybe try and find some value through the 7 races out of Cambridge with that first 4 option.
And of course, midway through the week, we're over hump day and we're on the downward slope towards Hawke's Bay, aren't we? The first leg of the Triple Crown, and of course, the first Group 1 of the season. What are you most excited about seeing on the weekend?
Oh, there's a number of angles to take on this race day, isn't there, Emily? I mean, excited to see the good 3-year-olds line up in strong 3-year-old races first and foremost, and then the Tarzino itself. Now, the sticky point for the race day is the weather forecast and the amount of rain that is likely to fall between Wednesday and Saturday. Now, first of all, great for the region because they need the rain. I mean, they have already declared that they are going to be in a drought by the end of the spring once again in the Hawke's Bay region. Yet we've put a race day meeting on for the first meeting of the spring, and it's going to be likely of a wet track. Now, that will eliminate a number of runners with their chances of winning the Tarzino on the weekend. I think you have to sort of lean towards horses like Avantage that we know that she can get through conditions that are in that dead to slow bracket, no problem whatsoever for her. And if she can bounce back from her defeat in the Foxbridge, Barrier draws play such a key part. So interesting race day, and now with that element of it being a wet track.
Awesome stuff. Thanks for that, Brendan. Now we go on to Pip Morris, who brings us some insight into the Whanganui Greyhounds. Pip, how are you doing, and what are you looking forward to on that card today?
Yeah, good, thank you, Emily. 13 race program, so looking forward to it. Plenty of races to back into, including a 645 metre race where we've got some really nice dogs going around feature on the day.
And I understand that your best bet appears in that 645 metre race.
Certainly does, yes. It's a race number 4 on the program, and I've gone for the 1 Big Time Elsa. She was a little bit luckless last time over the 520. Last time she won over this trip was from this alley, and I think the main danger out wide, Big Time Mac, may get a little bit of trouble from Odette drawn to his outside, so happy to play her the best bet of the day.
And what about a value bet? What do you like on that card from Whanganui?
I've gone for race number 11. It's a dog called Wonder for Sammy Phillips. Look, she's only got a small team, but they're racing along really well. The dog won on debut from this really nice litter, Thrilling Boris out of Thrilling Lola, and it was really luckless. First up in Class 1, could not get around a wide runner called Dottie Bell. Comes up with box number 2 in a race where I think should be value.
Awesome stuff. Thanks so much for your insight, Pip. Stick with us here on The Form, because up next we chat to Craig Grylls. Craig Grylls joins us on The Form this morning. And Craig, great to have you with us. And it's a pretty big week, kicking off obviously today, of course, with the Cambridge synthetic races. Wondered if we could have a little chat through your rides. And in that first race of the day, number 6, Indian Bay, has barrier 3, but got that recent racing on the synthetic. What can you tell us about this one?
Yeah, I have ridden this girl earlier on in her career, and did show a little bit too. So I haven't been on her for a while, but like you say, sort of has had a bit of experience on the synthetic, which is always handy coming into today's meeting. Last run wasn't too bad, so like you say, I've drawn a nice low gate, which is going to definitely going to help the cause. But it's not an overly strong field, so hopefully she can put her hand up today.
And then in race number 3, you've got horse number 8, Lady Caval, who is on debut, a daughter of American Pharaoh, who was a last winner on the synthetic. And obviously those colours we know so well, Craig, the Zami partnership, they can often find a good one, can't they?
They can. They certainly can. They've had quite a few nice horses go around in recent years. So hopefully this can be another nice one for them. So first time for me sitting on, but did look at the trial win the last trial win at Cambridge here. Looked quite impressive. So another one that's also drawn a low gate. Should zip along, and I think it looks like a pretty good chance on paper.
In comparison, one that you have ridden at the trials recently is race number 4, Little LGD. Tell us about this one and what you felt coming into this on that trial.
Yeah, I was quite impressed with the last trial win here, also at Cambridge. She really zipped along, but the thing I liked about her is she had a really good turn of foot too when it did ask her to go, and she sort of put a bit of a gap on them late, but was very, very happy with the trial. So like winning on the synthetic here at the trials is a big plus going into today too. So but I very do much like this one.
Where would you like to see yourself in running? It's obviously different on the synthetic to a normal race, isn't it? Where, with that turn of foot, where would you like to position yourself?
Yeah, I mean, hopefully showed enough speed at the trial. So, I mean, you're going to probably want to be pretty much close up there, but without having to do too much work to get there would be the ideal sort of thing. If there's something else that goes really hard, it'd be perfect to just be camped right on them.
King of Reds in race number 5, the last start second, and that's perhaps shaping up to be quite a nice form race going forward.
Yeah, very good form race actually. So, the second was the right sort of kick. He looked like he kicked really hard, and he was just run down late. So, the 970s probably is a real suitable distance for him. I've ridden him in a couple of trials earlier on before his last start, and they were sort of trying to get him to settle over a bit of a longer distance, but he seems like a real sort of sprinting horse, so they dropped him back to the 970, and he almost pulled it off. So John said he's really happy with him coming into today's race.
That distance of the 970 metres from a wide draw, that doesn't give much time to sort of sort things out. Does that matter so much on the synthetic?
I don't think so, and especially from the 970 start, it's sort of you're only just got the one bend, so you're not covering. Well, I mean, you are covering a little bit of extra ground if you are wider, but it seems to be on the poly. If you can just be out of the kickback a little bit, it's sort of probably a little bit beneficial than being getting kickback. Some of them seem to almost sort of puts the handbrake on them a little bit. So I don't think it's a major concern around here.
And then in race number 6, Darcy Palmer, ultra consistent type, and does have to carry the big weight though, Craig.
Yeah, he just can't quite get there, but he's always right in the thick of the finish there. Yeah, like he does have to carry a big weight, but he's a big strong horse himself, so I don't think there'll be too much of a worry for him. But yeah, hopefully he can get there today. He's definitely due one, that's for sure.
If you had to single out your best on the card there to the Cambridge Synthetic this afternoon, which one would it be?
I'd probably have to say Steve Marsh's one in the was it L? Oh, sorry,
Little LGD.
Little LGD, that's one.
Yeah.
I'd probably have to say her. I really like to her last trial here. I was quite impressed with it.
Yeah, so that's race number 4, number 11, Little LGD. Before we let you go, we spoke of a big week building up to the weekend. Of course, Group 1 racing returning here in New Zealand, and you've got a really, really good chance in Dragon Leap. I'm sure you were in at the stable yesterday galloping him. Tell me about the gallop and what feeling he's given you in preparation for this big assignment.
Yeah, really looking forward to him stepping out this prep. Yesterday morning, rode him in a gallop at Matamata on the course proper. Galloped on the rail on the course proper. The track was probably in the heavy range, and sort of didn't think we're not really too sure if we'd like it, but he actually seemed to get through it quite good. But he worked very strong through the line, and he's pulled up really well from that gallop. So really looking forward to sitting on him on Saturday.
Is it difficult for him? Obviously, we've spoken to Andrew Scott and we've heard from him in a fresh state. You can only have him so ready. He doesn't have that sort of race day fitness under his belt. In your mind, where's he at with regards to fitness, and what are you expecting from him on Saturday?
Yeah, like you say, I guess there's a few. Probably most of the rest of the horses in the field are going to have that race fitness advantage over him. But like after his recent gallops that I've ridden him in, he's pulled up really good after each one. So yeah, it's hard to say, but he's as fit as I think he's as fit as he can be in a fresh state, if you know what I mean. So. But I'm sure whatever he does on Saturday, he's going to be running strong through the line.
What were the instructions for the trial? It looked like you just sort of sat there quietly and gave him a really conservative run. Were they the instructions? Yeah,
that was the plan. Just to have a nice day out. Don't be too hard on him. Just a nice little sort of open his wind up and have a nice day out, which it was. He felt really, really good.
And obviously, with regards to running in the race, how would you like it to unfold in an ideal world? Where would you like to be positioned and draw, and how would you like to see things go?
I suppose in the perfect world, if I could draw 5 or 6, sort of be maybe just midfield or just beyond midfield, just let him get into his rhythm and give him clear air at the top of the straight and have him running the rest of them down would be the perfect scenario. But yeah, I'm sure wherever he's going to be powering through the line.
There's a couple of other exciting horses for you to throw your leg over on Saturday, because of course Bonnie Lass is back at the races as well, and gosh, she was a standout filly as a 2-year-old, wasn't she? So consistent. Have you had the opportunity to have a sit on her, and how's she come back?
Yeah, she's very exciting for the big team of owners there. Yes, I galloped her yesterday morning as well on the course proper as well at Matamata, and she had a exhibition gallop at Matamata 2 weeks ago, I think it was. So she's coming up really good. She's strengthened up quite a lot since last prep, which is really good to see, and I'm just sure she's going to go a really bold race too.
And of the boys, the 3-year-old boys, I Wish I Win is a pretty handy pickup ride for you, and he was very game behind the unbeaten, of course, Imperatriz.
Yeah, he was very good. I actually thought at Te Rapa the other week, for a bit, I thought I had the stablemate in a bit of trouble, but she's obviously a very good filly. But he's a lovely horse too. He's a very good type. He quite impressed me, so I'm very happy to be on him again as well.
Did you feel there was a bit of improvement from him coming into this next second up assignment?
Yes, like he's pulled up. He's had a nice blow. He isn't. He wasn't heaving, but he just had a nice blow, like sort of an improving sort of run. That he's going to take out of it. And I'm sure Jamie will have him cherry ripe for the event.
Awesome stuff, Craig. Best of luck on the weekend and with your rides, obviously, this afternoon at Cambridge. Thanks for your time.
Thanks very much, Emily. Cheers.
So now on the form, we head across the ditch, and Natalie Young is on the phone. Natalie, great to catch up with you and looking forward to going through all of these horses.
Yeah, thanks for having me on.
So this afternoon, obviously, we've got the Bendigo gallops, and you've got a couple of nice horses in. The first one that I wanted to touch on was race number 4 in Milestone. We haven't seen this horse for a little while. Tell me how it's coming up.
Yeah, he's coming up really nicely. He's obviously going to be a bit better once he gets up to that 2,000 metres, but he's trialled up nicely a couple of weeks ago, and he probably will need the run, but look, he'll sort of get back in the field and hit the line really nicely, but he'll probably be better once he gets up to that sort of 2,000 metre mark.
What's your opinion of him going forward? Is there a sort of path for the spring, or when you can get to that 2,000 metres?
We're just going to try and bring him through the grades a little bit. It's still a little bit low on the rating, so haven't really got any outset plans, but further deep into the carnival, there's a few country cups that we might better try and target further down the track.
You've also got Magnajet. That's in race number 8, another horse who is in a fresh state, and I did notice quite a good fresh record and $10 in the market. Should we be having a little bit each way on this one?
Yeah, look, he's trialled up super, and he's one of these horses that just loves having apprentices on him. I think out of the 5 times that he's won, he's had, the 3 kilo claimers on him, and he's just a jump and run sort of horse. So, I think he's actually pretty good value for the way he's trialled up, and we've actually gelded him since his last preparation, and it always is pretty good having that ultimate gear change. So, and he's worked up really nicely, and I think he should go a really nice race. He's got a good gait, so just be able to jump and run, and it'd be nice for Tiani to kick a goal. She comes in and does a lot of work for us for the stable, so it's nice to help these apprentices out and give them a little bit of hand where you can.
And that'll take some weight off his back as well, won't it? Because he likes apprentices, but also is carrying a little bit of weight there today.
Yeah, well, it always helps, especially sort of going into the spring. Any little 1 or 2 kilos off, it's less that they're carrying, and it just might give you that half a head or nose that you need in the finish.
We're Wednesday today, but obviously as we count down to Saturday, there's some big races coming up, and one of your key contenders, obviously in the Sir Rupert Clarke, is Sierra Sue. That was such an unlucky run in that last one, the Fian, and you'd be hoping to turn it all around when it comes to Saturday.
Yeah, it was a pretty hard watch. I think I watched it quite a few times afterwards, and you don't normally get a lot of emotion off John Allen either, but I won't repeat what he said in his Irish accent, but he was fuming a little bit when he come back in. It's just a shame, like everywhere she went up the straight, the gaps just closed, and her last 200 sectionals was brilliant. I think it was like 12.68. It wasn't far off Elephant, so I was hoping that we were going to try and quinella that race, but look, she's come through it really well, and she gets in super on Saturday. Just back to the 1400 where they'll go that a bit faster in that earlier tempo, and the rail's out 6 metres, which when she won the PB Lawrence, the rail was out 8 metres, so it does give her that opportunity to sort of get back like she does and really get home over top of them.
She's been racing in such good form. What's she like to have around the stable, and what's she like to deal with?
Oh, she's an absolute sweetheart. Yeah, she's sort of one of those fillies that she pulls in her work a little bit. She loves what she does, so you don't need to gallop her too much. And we went a pretty unconventional path. The Mildura Cup, then into the PB Lawrence, and it was on a 6-day backup for the Mildura Cup, and she got that job done. And we've just pulled her work back, her galloping work back a little bit. And we've been getting her out to the beach out at Seaford here. It's only 15 minutes up the road, and she's just really loving it. So you wouldn't get her looking any better. She's really come through that Phenon, and she galloped yesterday super. I actually galloped beside her with Mirage Dancer, and Yeah, she's just working really well, and she had that little minor foot problem a couple of weeks back where we missed the Group 1 and went to the Phenon, and she's well and truly over that now. So she's bouncing around and she's all dappled up. So I really can't fault her going into Saturday.
We've got to talk about the 3-year-olds because you have such a sort of strong stable of 3-year-olds, and there's plenty to get through. Punters at home would have noticed Forgot You, that super impressive victory at the Valley last time. Tell me the plans for this horse going forward.
Well, he obviously, he's known for Saturday, but we're probably more than likely to go the Friday at the Valley in the Stud Stakes. He won at the Valley last time, and he's just been a horse that's always run really good races, but he's just always taken a little bit to put it together. He's sort of one of those horses that's always had a very sensitive mouth, and, as soon as you touch it, he's kind of overreacted, and that's cost him in those first few early runs. And I think, last week with the crossover on it, it just helped him keep it nice and close, and he just showed a really good turn of foot that we knew that he had. So he's come through it really awesome, and I think back to the Valley, and if he could get that Group 2 Stud Stakes, run 1 or 2, then we might think about, just keeping him at the mile and go the Guineas, being a Savabeel colt.
Yeah, and speaking of that call for Guineas Prelude and horses that you've got nominated, I also noticed River Plate and Footlights. I think you mentioning to me before, River Plate will start, but Footlights heads elsewhere.
Yeah, we're just thinking, we actually did a reverse trial yesterday, and he worked out really nicely on that leg. We just had 3 or 4 of our own in it, and got round the corner, no problem. Luke Curry came in and galloped him. So we'll probably go up to the Gloaming the following week, and then sort of into the Spring Championship kind of path. And with River Plate, we'll run on Saturday. He's obviously came over from Andrew Campbell. We'd had him sort of 3 weeks for that first up run at Sandown, and he was just a little bit fractious in the gate, so we had to come back and trial him last Monday and just gave him a really soft one, just get his barrier pass again. And he jumped out nice. We just put the stallion chain and the barrier blanket, and I think that's really made a difference. And he worked up yesterday with Forgot You, and very impressed with what I seen galloping wise. He's just a lovely big flying arty colt. I think Andrew only paid $35,000 for him, so he's probably he's very good at picking those cheap horses. Andrew Campbell, as we all know, and he got over to us in fantastic order. So it was just a matter of tweaking him up just to get into that first up run. But he's settled in, and, you wouldn't even know he's a colt, to be honest. He's got a great temperament.
And elsewhere on that card for Saturday at Caulfield, in the 3-year-old plate, you've got See You in Spring and Duty Dynasty nominated. What can you tell us about these two?
Duty Dynasty, we'll probably just wait and trial him up. He just had a little bit of a foot issue a couple of weeks back, so he's missed a little bit of work. See You in Spring, well, we sort of went back to that easy sort of rating 70,000 metres at Cranbourne just to get her confidence back after a previous one at Caulfield. But she did go into that run at Caulfield with only the one jump out. She probably just peaked a bit on her run. Daniel Moore came and galloped her yesterday, and he was really impressed with her. So he gets on well with her, and she's just a filly. She's just pure speed, Originally, when we brought her at the English Ready to Runs, we thought she might get out to an Oaks type of trip. I remember saying to Tim at first light, we'll get an Oaks horse here, and she's completely made a liar out of me, and she's sort of 1,000 metres, 1,050 or 1,100. But she's got that listed win in Adelaide, and I just thought going forward it'd be a nice race for her against her own age group. And, maybe we can look at a Group 2 a couple of weeks later on.
Race also on that card, the 1,000 Guineas Prelude. You had Glint of Hope nominated, a Japanese bred. A little bit of change of plans with this filly too.
Yeah, she's been quite unlucky her first 2 starts. At Benalla, she was basically a whisker in it, and we really quite liked her going into that race. And the other day at Cranbourne, she just got a little bit too far back and held up, and she got a bit smashed when she came out of the gate. So she did have actually genuine excuses, but she really boogied late. So I've actually got a lot of time for this filly, and obviously being a deep impact, she's got a great pedigree. So we'll probably end up going to the Manifold with her, and then sort of onto an Oaks path further down the track. But if she stepped out in the Manifold, then we probably would throw her into the 1,000 Guineas and then go on to the Oaks, obviously. But she's come through that run brilliantly, and she's just a really quality filly that loves her work. So she's a really, really nice filly.
And then, of course, you've got Mirage Dancer and the Naturalism over the 2,000 metres. That incentivised form from the Winters looking okay now, isn't it?
Yeah, well, I was actually up in the Gold Coast with Mirage up there for like 5 weeks, and it was nice for me to get a bit of sun on my back. But we thought Aussie was not going to run it there, and we thought, oh, we'll be right. But yeah, he's obviously a super horse. Obviously won the Group 1 on Saturday. But look, he's come back. We gave him a couple of weeks spell, brought him back. He ran on the Heatherly, and he had a bit of a wide gate, so we ended up getting a bit of traffic in front of him, and he just over raced the touch. So he went a little bit slow early, but he actually hit the line really nicely. And yeah, his work with Sue yesterday, I thought that's the best he's felt. I sort of come out of retirement and ride him every day because he's just the coolest horse. You'd love him. He's an 8-year-old stallion that he's just a pleasure to have in the barn. Everyone loves him, our Frank. So I think up to the 2,000 metres on Saturday, I think it's going to be really up his alley, and just hope we can draw a gate and he can just sit up a bit closer and sit in behind the speed.
Awesome stuff. And I know it's putting you on the spot a little bit, but do you have a winner or a horse that you think can win over the next couple of days that you can tip us into?
Yeah, well, I think, Magnajet with the apprentice on Tiani today will be, a nice chance. He's nice and fresh, and he runs well fresh. So I think at those odds, he's a nice each way chance.
Thanks so much for your time, Nat. Great to have a catch up with you, and best of luck today. And of course, as we head into the weekend.
Great. Thanks a lot.
Well, James McDonald joins us on the phone now. He's got a busy afternoon with the Kensington gallops coming up. Let's have a little chat through his runners. James, great to have you on the show. Let's start with that Kensington meeting. You've got a full book by the looks of things.
Yeah, no, busy time. Obviously, with all the restrictions around, we only can go to a few tracks during the week, and obviously the Kenzo's one, and Kemmler on Thursday as well. So yeah, there's no mucking around at the moment.
Let's have a little chat through your rides. I thought we'd start them in racebook order. Tell me about Antonio Giovanni, a horse who makes its debut.
Yeah, he's a beautifully bred colt. Obviously, he's had plenty of trials to prepare, as normally the Chris Wallers do, and he's a bit of a miler type of horse who's obviously kicking off his campaign over 7. It'll be interesting to see if he starts from the wide gate, but he's also in on Thursday. But whatever race he runs in, he'll run very well.
And then in race number 2, Lady Piaf, another who is on debut and does have that trial win under her belt.
Yeah, another one that's had about 5 trials to prepare, so she's taken a little bit of time, but she's a beautifully bred I'm Invincible filly, very of the mould of the father. They get back sort of sprinting type of filly who's a little bit hot at times, but she's definitely taken her time because she has been a little bit fragile up in the mind at times, but in saying that, she'll be very well prepared to run pretty well here if the track's good.
You've got race number 3, Carlos, who's third up and comes through that 4th at its latest. Should be peaking, do you reckon, in a third up state?
Yeah, 100%. He should be peaking here. He's on the back up from Gosford last week, where he ran pretty well. I know they've had pretty good reps on this horse over the time, but he hasn't delivered as yet. But out to a nice trip where he should nice winnable race for him. He should definitely peaking for tomorrow.
Speaking of that third up theme, head of state in race number 4, also in that state and coming back from the Ming dynasty. Will it find this race easier?
Yeah, well, he's been a little bit disappointing, this colt, because he is a beautiful looking horse. Obviously, an expensive yearling who actually showed a lot as a 2-year-old. We thought he'd be a champagne sort of horse, and he had a little setback there towards the end of his campaign. He was put out for a spell, come back a little bit flat first up. He raced without a lot of speed in his legs, but second up he was a little bit better in strong company. I'm not too sure if he's going to start or not because of the wet conditions and the wide gate, but if he doesn't start here, he's going to head to the Gloaming Stakes over 18, where he should be a bit more competitive.
Race number 5, 8 Diamonds, does have to bounce back from a finish down the field at the latest.
Very talented, but again, very fragile sort of mare. She's had barrier issues. She's raced without any luck, but she just doesn't help herself. She's got a bit of a mind of her own, but she's definitely well up to running very well in this sort of race. But it is a strong race with a promise to success. Looks to stand out in that.
At race number 6, Overman, a horse who's fresh, but did race in the JJ Atkins at a last preparation. So the team obviously have quite a high opinion of this one.
Yeah, absolutely. Lovely horse. Lightly raced 3-year-old who raced in very good quality races over the winter. But his performance in the nursery in his first start was very good behind a very talented horse, an Acrobat. And I thought the 1100 might have been a bit short for him, but going through his form, I doubt that very much. Obviously, a son of Hitchinbrook, he'll be well prepared. He's had one trial, very good trial too. So he looks one of my better rides on the day.
And to wrap it up in race 7, Super Contender, a European bred who came through that last start second. What did you make of that effort?
Yeah, it was unreal. Very good run, great return. He's had a wind up, which obviously has worked wonders off his first start run. If he starts from a wide gate, I'd be very disappointed if he didn't win or run second. He's going really well.
Well, out of the day, out of all of those rides at the Kensington, I'm picking that maybe Super Contender is your best of the day, but is there another one, or that goes on top?
Yeah, he's probably looks the logical one with the run under his belt. Overman looks a very talented horse, but you're a little bit unknown whether he's come back, but he's having a first start run, but he looks a very talented horse. So out of those two would be the main two.
A big thanks to James McDonald for his insight into his rides this afternoon on the Kensington track. We now wrap up the show with a recap of our best bets. Well, that's it from us here on The Form. We'll be back tomorrow with more insight into the races. A busy day of racing with harness, greyhound and gallops action coming your way.